loading up the hearse, throw it in reverse. I come from the church of the Marvel Universe. Bodies getting stuffed in the bags.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cryptcast. I'm Mike.
What up, Crypt Crawlers? I'm Brian.
And we are coming to you from inside the Comic Crypt in Eatontown, New Jersey, and we've got a book review this week. We're doing Saga of Swamp Thing, Book 1, by Alan Moore, Stephen Bissette, and John Totleben. It covers issues 20 to 27, originally published in 1984.
Weird shit, man.
Hmm?
Weird shit.
Yeah, I was gonna what are your thoughts just before we start, like just in general?
Overall, past issue 20, it was enjoyable. It doesn't like. I understand why they included issue 20, and I think in the introduction or it said that this is the first time issue 20 has been included.
Yeah, usually it wasn't published along with
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, which like I get because like.
What a waste of time.
it's it's title tying up loose ends. It's intentionally tying up all the things from the arc before, but it's jarring. It's very it jumps around. There's not a lot of explanation as to who these people are and how they're connected.
Right.
And
That's my biggest thing about this book is because I don't know anything about Swamp Thing. I just felt lost.
Yeah.
With anyone who wasn't Swamp Thing.
And I think that issue 20 made me more lost.
Well, yeah, because they handle some stuff, and then, like, some things disappear, and some things just don't get explained. Like,
right.
You feel out of the loop for a little bit in the story. Until more story gets going.
Right.
Then you're just like, oh, okay, alright, I kind of know what's happening. Yeah. But even then, like, the only person who matters going forward is Abigail. Like, Matt's on the side doing weird shit, but that doesn't come to anything. We have two characters disappear completely. We have ostensibly who was the bad guy from the beginning, the Sunderland Corporation.
The general.
I don't know.
Was he a general?
He was running
head of a corporation.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
There's so much I don't know.
Right. So there's that. There's a lot of unexplained and things that are in the first issue for no reason or seemingly no reason that like just drift off into obscurity. And even the Abigail character, who seems to be the constant like person to go back. Like the character, as we'll talk about in the story, it's not the guy anymore. He's become this thing.
Right.
And
a Swamp Thing.
Yeah, a Swamp Thing. And she insistently comes back and refers to him by the name, insisting that he's the guy.
Right.
And it's like, and I don't know how, like, he could let her down any easier. He told her flat, like, I'm not the guy. Like,
right. And my problem with her is, like, she has a moment where she does a thing one time, but otherwise she's just, like, the crying damsel in distress who, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not...
So, it might be a weird take, but she comes off juvenile.
A little bit?
She comes off in the, you're what I need you to be, even if you're telling me you're not. Like, I almost got a feeling, and again, I've read nothing prior to this,
right?
So it feels like a bad place to start, because is she in love with him? She's married to this guy, Matt.
Right. Matt, and they're, like, friends for a long time.
Right.
His wife had died, like...
Right.
Yeah.
But it seems like she's desperately wanting him to still be this guy.
Right.
Because of another reason. But she never professes love. She never,
I have a feeling that her character gets better as time goes on. Because there's, like, more setting up some depth to her. Because there's stuff going on with her husband. There's stuff going on with her, with life-changing.
Right.
With Swamp Thing. Like, there's a lot going on. It just doesn't come across well within these first few issues.
Fair.
Overall, we're being kind of critical up front about it, but it was pretty good.
Right. It was. Again, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I just feel it was a weird choice to include this issue 20. I feel like it would have been much better without it.
Yeah, agreed. It, but like you said, it's there to kind of bridge the gap. So, I don't know. Once more gets rolling, it's good.
Well, I mean, we'll dive into it and explain and justify the critique as we go.
Sure.
Because there's so much more.
There's a lot in it, because it's more, and he likes to read a lot in it.
There's so much more.
So the book starts with an intro by Len Wein, and it goes over the history of the book.
And I shit you not, I found it more interesting to hear inside comic book industry history.
Yeah.
Just him and Bernie Wrightson being the original creative team.
Yep.
How they let it go, and like the publishers now, like, I don't think creators get to decide who takes over their book. Like, this
No.
guy got to decide who. He got to curate the people that took care of his thing.
He was also in an editorial capacity by the end of that point, so I think that's why he had the go-ahead to do that.
Yeah,
so.
But, he was also, I guess, someone so credible in the industry that he went to, when it started, it was Carmen Infantino was what they said was the publisher. And then this woman, Jan, later on, when Wes Craven kind of rekindled interest with the movie.
Right.
And he went to the publisher then, that woman Jen, and he was like, hey,
we should get on this.
There should be a book. There should be a book along with it. But I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting thing. It's like, hey, I think there should be a thing.
But I think
my thing should be represented to go inside.
Right.
But I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I'm done with that. I don't need
that in my life anymore. That's a very interesting thing for a creator. Yeah.
It's a business. He had the right head on it. But a couple of notes I took out of that I found interesting. House of Secrets number 92, which is his first appearance, which is a one-off, had nothing to do with anything. It outsold everything released that month through DC.
Yeah, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, everything.
Everything.
Which is cool.
Which is very impressive.
Yeah.
Because it's not like those things don't sell a shit ton of books.
That in itself makes me wish we were reading that.
Right? Just
I want to read the thing
whatever
that outsold everything else on the table for DC. Yeah.
Like you had mentioned, Swamp Thing had been canceled, and it didn't come back until Wes Craven made the movie in 1982. So it was just off the table completely. And you said Ween came back and said, "Hey, we should probably get on this and
capitalize on this."
Right, exactly. Yeah. And in doing so, he got the book restarted. He had Martin Pascoe writing it, along with, I forget who the artist was at the time. I'm sorry. He wanted to leave the book, and Len Wein found his replacement in Alan Moore, and he chose Moore because he couldn't find any U.S. writers that he thought could fit the bill. I thought it was pretty interesting.
I thought a fun part of that story was that Alan Moore thought he was getting fucked with.
Yeah.
Like, he thought it was friends of his, offered him, fucking with him.
Yeah, he called him.
Yeah.
He said he was Len Wein. He's got a job for him, and he Moore hung up on Len Wein because he thought someone was fucking with him.
That's fun.
He had to call back and convince him that he's who he said he was.
Which is fun too, because so here's Moore thinking that his friends are pulling his leg and that they're messing around with him. But then once he finds out that the offer is genuine, he's like, I have to think about it. Let me call you back. So so he wasn't once he found out the offer was real, he wasn't just oh God, yes.
Right. But I mean, again, it's 82. He had been working since the mid to late 70s at that point, so it's he wasn't.
Yeah, but it shows that Moore was methodical. He probably went, did the research, read the background, came back, and went, okay, because he comes back and he goes, hey, I'm changing shit.
If Moore is anything, it's methodical.
Right. Yeah.
Have you ever seen his scripts?
No.
He's wild. He tight control on everything. He has crazy art direction on everything. He wants it done a particular way. Which again, you want the creative control, but
there was the first issue. I'm so critical of this first issue because it's jarring, but there are profound moments of dialogue.
There's some stuff in there for me too.
The very beginning when he goes and inspects Arcane's crashed airship to confirm that Arcane's dead, and he has this moment with Arcane's corpse, which is over the top creepy.
For me, that was just hokey. I didn't dig that.
I did dig it because I dig I dig his monologue. I dig that he was we're monsters, we're things that take comfort in the shadows, and this is a modern world where things are being exposed and there's less shadow, and there's less places for things places like monsters to hide, and it's all right, that's that's a cool vibe. That whole vibe that I feel is set up in those first couple of pages kind of gets brushed away.
I don't think so. I think that carries through. I just think it's super overstated in the first issue because that I'm a monster thing gets brought through the entire book.
Right. That yes, but the theme of the shadow shrinking and him having less places to go, he leaves the swamp a lot. It's you don't seem like something that's hiding very often, and the creepy tone of we're monsters in the shadows and in the dark. I was looking for more prolific prose from Moore.
Again, this is not the space to do it because he's playing cleanup at this point.
I know, but even throughout the rest of it, I was looking for more quotable dialogue about bad, dark, evil things and shadows, and then like the last 2 issues being Etrigan like rhymes. It's just like, oh, gross.
Yeah. I think you're coming in with an expectation of something, and it's not how Moore actually writes.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of his stuff is very quotable, and I felt like the first couple of pages with Arcane were that.
I think he gets into his rhythm in the following issues because like I haven't read anything more in a long time. But
Killing Joke.
Killing Joke. I forgot. But that's out of, I don't know. There's a rhythm to how he writes, and I picked it up pretty quick here. I'm talking about in something like longer form stuff. Killing Joke, I don't remember it hitting it the same. Okay. But again, it's a different kind of story for sure thing. All right, so yeah, but the intro, there's a foreword by Ramsey Campbell, and basically Campbell just gives you a very wordy, long-winded way of saying Alan Moore did a good job writing horror fiction. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that one at all.
I was annoyed that I read that. Because I was just like, you just gave me a book review, and I'm about to read this to do a book review. Like I felt like I read the Cliff Notes.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But the first issue, or first chapter, as they're called in here, is Loose Ends.
Literally.
Yeah.
Tying up loose ends.
Mm-hmm. And it starts with Swamp Thing making sure Arcane is dead after his ship crashed. I don't know where that ship came from, how it crashed, anything that's involved with it at all.
Yeah,
but it's crashed.
An awkward place to start.
And Arcane's dead.
Yep.
And Swamp Thing needs to make sure he's dead. Like, you covered him musing over his body about him being a monster and about him losing his own humanity.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole thing. Is the first issue is him wrestling with the fact that he is a monster and he wants to be human again. He doesn't know if it's ever going to be like that. And then we find out that there's a couple of guys talking about killing Swamp Thing.
And again, from this issue to the other things, this guy's a general and he's behind a desk and he's commanding troops, army guys, and then in the next issue he's running a corporation.
Right. Yeah, I like I said, it comes off like the president talking to a general. There's two dudes here.
Yeah.
But then they're showing military movements, so I don't know, but he's Sunderland. He has a corporation, all this shit, but they just want Swamp Thing dead.
Yeah, he's all the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not just Swamp Thing.
Yep. We meet Lisbeth Tremaine, who ended up sleeping with Dennis Barclay in a broken down car the previous night. They were somehow involved in the ship crashing in some way.
And involved with each other.
I'm not going to say more than that because they don't matter. After this issue. They disappear.
Yeah, but poor Dennis, though, because he thought it was going to be something more, and she just shoots him down. She's like, that's done, let's go.
Yeah, he thought they're going to be a thing now, and she's like, nope, that was a one-night stand, sorry, and he gets real pissy about it.
Yeah.
They start getting hunted down by helicopters.
Swamp Thing shows up in a motel. It's just labeled elsewhere, which is an annoyance for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of elsewheres in this issue particularly, because they're jumping everywhere.
And the motel seems to be a place where lots of things happen. Which bothers me that they don't just go, hey, this motel was kind of important, but
it was
right, but just say this is the motel.
It doesn't matter. Does it need a name?
Well, you get one later, so it's just kind of why don't you just tell me when it was up front? Let's go. Let's keep going.
Yeah, sure.
He's in the parking lot of the motel.
Well, where are you? Because
page 21, page 8. Page 8 of the comic.
Yeah,
21.
Yeah, let's go by the book page so we don't get too confused here.
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, he's ruminating about him being a monster thing.
Yeah, in a parking lot.
Yeah. We end up meeting a white-haired woman named Abby and her husband Matt, who do carry through the rest of the book. So they're important-ish.
And it's another elsewhere. And apparently they are in the room of that hotel.
No, they're in their house.
They're in their house.
They're in their house, yes.
Okay, because Liz and Dennis, when they show up in the lobby of the hotel later, they're like, oh, our friends were in the room. And they were referring to them.
No, they were not. They thought, because the desk lady had said, someone came to your room looking for you. So I gave them the key. And she said, oh, it's probably one of them. It's probably Abby or Dennis.
Right.
When it was the Sunderland people planting the bomb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We find out that Matt...
That was the other thing, too. When the bomb went off, I was like, well, Abby and Matt are dead.
But, we find out that Matt has some kind of... First of all, he's an alcoholic. Second of all, he has some kind of powers where he was unintentionally creating monsters, but he said he's all better now. He got drunk and he fought it, so he's all good. He doesn't have to worry about the weird like construct things he does. And like he can still do it. He has control over whatever, but he can make like little
prostitutes.
Well, this is like a stripper he made for himself, like a little stripper dancing in his hand. But I would say like Green Lantern, just think hard like constructs.
Yeah, constructs.
But he'll never actually do anything. But continually, he's just getting drunk, making entertaining shit for himself.
Because he tried to get all kissy with Abby.
Yeah, she's like, I just went through a trauma.
I don't want to kiss you.
Yeah.
And then army guys again. And they're looking for monsters in the swamp.
Right. The soldiers referenced the name of the issue, Loose Ends.
Yes.
So we did it.
Yep.
We got it. It's in there. Don't worry. It's fine. So we get to the part I said before where Liz and Dennis are at the front talking to the lady at the front desk. He's a doctor, apparently, and his medical bag's in there. Lady says, some people went to your room. They think it's Abby and Matt.
Right.
Then this one-off guy out of nowhere.
How weird is that?
The whole interaction makes no goddamn sense. So they're talking so Abby's talking with the front desk lady, and this guy walks in, and he's what's his fucking name?
Dallas Brandon at your service.
Heck, Dallas Brandon.
Heck is part of the name? I thought it was just
so.
a fucking vocal tick.
Whatever, it doesn't matter for long.
Heck, Dallas Brandon.
But he's a fucking cowboy, basically.
He's a cowboy, yeah.
He walks in and is like, hey, I'll go to your room and get your bag for you, miss.
Which, no you won't.
Right. How about you don't fucking touch my stuff, stranger?
Yeah, what the fuck?
The lady hands him the key. What's her fucking face? I don't remember her name anymore. Elizabeth doesn't say anything. She's like, yeah, fine, this stranger can go get my bag.
I like that it's Lisbeth, not Elizabeth.
Yeah.
It's Lisbeth, like Frank Sanford. Lisbeth, I'm coming to get you. Coming to meet you.
I just don't get
why this random cowboy why you would even let him take the key out of your hand.
Yeah, nothing. None of it makes sense. But he ends up going to the room.
And how convenient.
Very convenient.
We just needed someone to blow up.
A stranger would die for you in this manner. Because he opens the door, goes in the room, and there's a huge explosion. And he is just a corpse now?
Yeah.
He's a cowboy boot and some rubble.
For real. It gets better.
The you know what I also don't like about this issue? This shit.
Oh, yeah. I thought they were very nice drawings up in the corners.
There's this thing where they're using art to frame the corners or the edges of the thing, and there's a lot of work done into it. It's just, it serves no purpose other than dressing.
The eagles are nice. The bottles of alcohol on Matt's clearly an alcoholic thing.
But it doesn't carry through.
The tiki guys I don't get.
It doesn't carry through. It looks like an Indiana Jones door.
Yeah.
It doesn't carry through to the rest of the book.
Yeah, it's just this issue.
It's just this issue. The rest of the book is standard formatting. It's crazy. Anyway, there's a lot wrong with this issue, guys. It gets better. So the room's trapped. It explodes. It kills Tex or fucking whatever. What his name was? Dallas. Close enough. Doesn't matter.
And Ponyboy.
Dennis, who was apparently in Vietnam, goes into survival mode, and this selfish fuck. His first thought is like, hey, people bond in trauma. Maybe if we just stay in traumatic experiences for the rest of our lives, we'll stay together.
She'll want to do me again.
Yeah. They get clear of the motel. There's two Sunderland goons there, the guys who planted the bombs, going to check out the room. Avoid them. And then I don't think we ever see those two ever again.
No.
They run into the woods and they're gone forever, right?
Yes,
Elizabeth,
he kills her because she won't sleep.
Yeah, Elizabeth and Dennis. Yeah, it's a murder-suicide in the woods. The soldiers start sweeping the swamp, looking for Swamp Thing. They're using floodlights and flamethrowers.
Now, do you really think army guys would roll into a forest and just start flamethrowering?
It's a swamp. Everything's wet. Don't worry about it.
Wildlife conservation?
I'm sorry, do you think the U.S. military gives a fuck about wildlife conservation?
I guess not. I do. I care about raccoons and possum and shit.
Yeah,
what the fuck,
Yeah,
bro?
cook them up, man.
All right.
Yeah, so they're looking for Swamp Thing. A helicopter blows Abby and Matt's house up, but luckily they weren't inside because they were looking at soldiers attacking the swamp.
That was our house. It's observant.
Yeah. Swamp Thing starts beating the fuck out of some soldiers, and then he has this little poetic moment about, like, he's thinking about beetles and ants, where the beetle is big and strong, but there's so many ants that they overwhelm him. And it's making a clear comparison of him being the beetle and all the soldiers being ants.
Right.
So it's a nice little thing there. I'll loudly turn a page. If I can get it.
And, like, goddamn, is he strong.
Oh, he's crazy strong.
Like, I'm just going to rip this helicopter out of the sky.
He grabs the helicopter because it gets too low because some asshole's like, hey, just get lower, Johnny. We got to see what's going on.
Right.
And then he's under it. He grabs it and smashes it into the ground. Yeah, crazy strong. But because he did that, slowed him down enough where he gets hit by a flamethrower. Then he gets driven into the floodlights. He tries to get past them back to the darkness where he'll be safe. And then he gets shot like a dozen times.
Yeah, they light him up.
Like through the head, chest, everything. And that's the end.
Of the first issue.
Of that awful issue.
Yeah, of that jarring issue with lots of things that don't need to be in there. I gotta tell you, at this point, I did not want to continue.
Yeah, I felt similar. I felt similar. I was like, oh boy, this isn't going to be good at all.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a mess. It really was just a mess.
But I don't know if I like the rest of it so much more because it wasn't the first issue. Like, for me, it got so much better. At least for the next 2 or 3 issues.
There's a curve for me where I think the next 3 issues I think are way better than the last few.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I feel like this was terrible. It peaked and then it dropped back down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Never back as low as this though.
No.
This was the worst of it.
No, it was still like I became uninterested in the story. It was written well. I just didn't care as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
So chapter 2 is called The Anatomy Lesson, and I think this could be a standalone issue all by itself.
Yeah.
For me, it feels like a Twilight Zone episode.
Okay.
Like from the framing from the beginning to how it ends. Like if you just kept this as a single thing, absolutely a Twilight Zone episode. I love this issue. This is the best issue in the book for me.
The layouts are super cool.
Yes. That's the thing. There's novel layouts of the panels in here, which I appreciate. I have an issue. It doesn't happen often, but the way the text is done, you'll have text in boxes of different colors. You'll have text in bubbles. Sometimes the text color boxes are the same fucking person, so it gets a little confusing. I don't like free-floating text in the art.
That was a big thing.
Sometimes there's just free-floating words inside the art that you don't necessarily catch right away.
Yeah, it gets camouflaged in.
Yeah.
It's really hard to pick up on.
Especially with the art style in the book, which I'm not huge on. It's fine.
For me, it's reminiscent of if someone were to draw Hammer horror films.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, like a lot of close-ups on the eyes being real big.
Yes.
And bulging and stuff.
But I mean, this is also coming at an era where horror books, this is what they did, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
I haven't read any of that shit, but I'm assuming this was the standard as far as art went for that kind of thing. So, we're in Washington, D.C., and we meet Dr. Jason Woodrue or Woodrow. What do you think?
I would say Woodrue.
Same, okay. I said Woodrow for a little bit, but it's like, no, I think it's Woodrue.
Because this Dr. Jason Woodrue is the Floronic Man.
Yeah.
In DC, standing. He has been.
Long time.
Yeah, long time. And I want to say he's been in animated shit, and it is Woodrue. I want to say I've heard this name out loud.
I've never heard it out loud from a source that would be like, okay, cool, I'm going to say it like that now. Constant problem in comic books.
Yeah, pronunciation.
Yeah, so like you said, he's the Floronic Man, and he is happy about an old man trapped somewhere behind some glass, and he hopes there's blood. But we find out they're doing the tropey thing of the beginning of the book is the end of the book.
Yeah, the foreshadow.
And then we flash back, and the book tells the story of how we got to the beginning here. But there was an old man screaming, banging on some glass, blood everywhere. and Dr. Woodrow is having a glass of wine. So we get into the actual story, and that old man is showing Dr. Woodrow around his building, and he loves his building.
It's huge. He makes some of the best buildings.
Yes. He's all about his high tech. I have this one panel that does the whole building. I can control everything. Isn't it so great? I'm super rich and awesome. He also got Woodrow out of prison to study Swamp Thing's body, which they collected after they shot him up.
Now, this is Sunderland. This is the general.
Yeah. I don't think he's a general, though. He's a creepy old man that owns a company.
But I thought it was the same guy from the first issue.
It is the same guy as the first issue.
Okay.
Apparently he can
hire
the
military.
military.
He retired. He's in Washington. He bought a building.
But they've had Swamp Thing frozen for 2 weeks.
Yeah, what do they call it? A cryo?
Yeah, cryo
chamber.
Majigger. Then we get a quick recap of Swamp Thing's origin. We find that Alec Holland was a scientist working on plant growth. His lab got sabotaged. There was an explosion, and he went into the swamp with the experimental chemical all over him or around him. His wife, Linda Holland, was shot and killed shortly after the explosion, which is fucked up.
But that's fucked up. It's fucked up that they dug her up to examine her body to see if the chemicals affected her in any way.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Is they're trying to recreate what Swamp Thing is in some way to find out the science behind it, and they're like, oh, she got exposed to it a lot. Let's see what it does to her. It does nothing to animal tissue or human tissue or animals. What the same thing. So Woodrow's there to do an autopsy. He starts an autopsy, and he's excited about the body because he wants to gain some insight into his own physiology because he is also a plant man.
Which, Sunderland wants to see credentials, and Woodrow has to, spray this aerosol can on his hand where, fake skin melts away and reveals gnarled, woody fingers and whatever, which is also fun because later he has to spray fake skin on.
Yeah,
it's
so he does a thing where he has, spray-on flesh to allow him to masquerade as a normal guy.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But during the autopsy, he starts pulling out organs, but he finds out they're all just kind of plant-based facsimiles, like the lungs, the brain, the heart, the kidneys. They're just shaped like those organs. They don't actually do anything. Yeah. Yeah, they're just there. And for weeks, Sunderland hovers over Woodrow, threatens him with going back to jail because Woodrow's not working fast enough, and Woodrow fantasizes about him dying. Ever have a boss like that? Just kind of micromanages all your shit?
Yeah, but I don't think I never had a boss that I wanted to die, though. Yeah, I've worked for some jerk-offs, but I've never wished death on a boss.
I've never wished death on a boss, but I've had some people who are you have a good thing going, you have a system, you're doing a thing, and they come over and they think they know better, and they just start fucking everything up. I've had that happen. Yeah. Not you. But 6 weeks in, and Woodrow cracks it. He knows what's happened. He thinks about, what are the worms? Planarian worms. And he goes into a whole explanation about that, and the old man's like, hey, shut the fuck up. Can you just tell me what you're talking about?
Yeah. Stop going on about worms.
Right. As he's talking about that, something's starting to grow from Swamp Thing's body. It's cracking through his chest. Right? Woodrow explains that consciousness and intelligence can be passed on as foodstuffs. So basically it comes down to Alec died in the explosion, but the plants fed on his decomposing body and became infected with his consciousness, and through that it willed the plants to try and build a body that it would be more comfortable in, which you get a man thing, not man thing, you get Swamp Thing man-shaped, right? That's why he has organs that don't work. It's just him pretending to be a person.
Faking it.
Right, but he doesn't know he's faking it. He thinks he's still a guy that got turned into plants. Because the old man doesn't want to hear all the details, he has the report. He's got the gist. So he fires Woodrow so other people could finish the work because he doesn't like him. And Woodrue doesn't get the chance to explain that you can't kill a vegetable by shooting it through the head. Which...
He's basically telling him a Swamp Thing is not dead.
Right. You ever shoot a potato through the head?
No.
It doesn't die.
The recapping of what happened to Alec Holland is just horrific.
Yeah.
You know, the dynamite blowing up like, what did I say, 18 inches,
yeah, inches from
his
yeah.
face. You know, the flaming body being hurled out of the cabin into the swamp where Deacon... Well, goddamn.
Yeah, he had a rough go.
Yeah.
So, Woodrue takes the opportunity of the old man leaving the office after he fires him to turn the thermostat down from the control panel that the old man was bragging about. And Swamp Thing gets to defrost, regenerate, and escape.
Just never fuck with people that are smarter than you.
Right.
You know, no matter how powerful you are.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Maybe. But Swamp Thing makes his way through the building to the old man's office, where he confronts him. And I wish Swamp Thing would look like this the rest of the book. He's kind of like ragged, new growth. You could see like wood where his bone would be kind of inside him. Lots of vines and different shit all over him. Because after this issue, he kind of rolls back to being standard-looking Swamp Thing, very smooth.
Yeah.
I like this. I like this a lot more.
It's a lot scarier.
It is a lot scarier, but it also makes sense for, like, it's a dude made of plants. He'd be plant-like. You know, the vining and the leafing and the twigs and shit. That's a better look for me. But Swamp Thing reads the report, and it kind of fucks him up, because he realizes that he was never Alec. He's never going to be human again. And he chases the old man down and kills him.
And Woodrue's monologuing the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is fun. He's thinking about the old man and about the cracking of his joints as he runs away. It's like, God damn, like Woodrue's enjoying the shit out of this, and he's not even watching it.
Yeah, he's not even there. He's just thinking about what's happening to him.
Yeah.
That's it. It ends there. Like, Swamp Thing chases his old man down and kills him. And it's just Woodrue sipping some wine, thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Full circle.
Like I said,
the issue comes full circle.
Right. I think it's a very good self-contained issue. I think this could be filmed as an episode of A Twilight Zone or something like that. And land great.
Even dialogue-wise, it opens with, like, it's raining in Washington, and it ends with, for a moment I'm content simply to think and to plan and to listen. It's raining in Washington. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Like I said, it's for me, best issue in the book.
Yeah.
Like, by far.
No question.
By far. Then we go to chapter 3, Swamped. Huh?
Nah? Swamped with what?
Ass.
Yeah.
Abby and Matt are searching through the Louisiana swamps. They definitely have swamp ass. And Abby is looking for Alec. And by some fucking miracle, they actually find him. The problem is he's become rooted into the swamp.
Yeah, he's kind of just this, like,
lump,
little islandy lump with vegetation growing out of him.
Like rainwater has collected in his eye sockets, his mouth, his nose, his chest. Like there's little pools. Like you can't see any of it. They think he's dead, which, fair.
Yeah, I would too.
And Woodrue just comes sidling out of the swamp. He ends up giving them kind of a half-truth about his background with Sunderland. Like, he tells them, it's like, hey, they hired me to autopsy this guy to figure out what the fuck's going on.
But why would you even share that much?
Because he ends up being the good guy, because, like, I helped him escape once I found out what they were trying to do.
Yeah, but why not stay hidden till they leave?
You find out who they are.
But, I mean, like,
They trust him, though.
I know.
Idiots.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, Woodrue's got, like, these ulterior motives with Swamp Thing's, like, body, and he's wanting to do further experiments and stuff. I wouldn't be, like, telling his friends I'm there. What are they going to do? Pull out some shovels and uproot them and take them?
Right.
They're not going to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But so he tells them, like I said, it's kind of a half-truth. It makes him sound like a better guy than he is.
Yeah.
But he goes, like, hey, I helped him escape. And he tells them, like, hey, this isn't actually Alec. He's just kind of a mass of plants that thinks he's Alec. So, he lets them know that he's been studying him for 3 weeks, and he hasn't moved once. He says he's dealing with psychological trauma, and he's currently a vegetable. Huh?
It's a vegetable making vegetables. Because, like, half of it sounds, like, honest and comforting. And then he comes off like twice as creepy when he's like, "Hey, like it looks like a yam, like I bet it's edible. Like, why are you gonna eat parts of them, bro?"
He said he hasn't moved in a fortnight. He's put down taproots and stopped pretending to breathe. And then there's these fascinating tubers that he's producing. I haven't had a chance to study them up close, but I took a schist from one and had them examined through a microscope. It's similar to a yam. It might even be edible. And when he says that, Abby throws up.
Yeah, and later on, he eats it.
Yeah.
Like, he does, in fact.
Who doesn't want to eat a guy's yams? Come on.
Take a look at them yams.
So, Abby's distraught. Her and Matt go back to the motel they're staying at. The same motel that exploded before. Huh? Come back.
Still doesn't have a name.
And then shit gets weird because we jump to Alex's point of view, and he's having a dream. So we kind of like jump into his consciousness, and it happens a few times through the book. Where'd I go?
Well, you gotta, he's got to be in this like deep, meditative, like coma-like state, right? You know, he's rooted, he's not conscious, so his fake mind is wandering.
But it's his real mind. It's his consciousness in a plant's body, right? It's his mind. It's not him. It's a copy.
It's gonna be very frustrating for the plants. Who am I?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a lot of this is dealing with identity.
I was just a fern up until this guy's memories like.
So he's having a dream, and he's mashing all kinds of story details together, like his wedding and Abby, and him getting in like a swamp thing. Is very weird. Like, it's very, like, dream thing. But ultimately, it comes down to, like, there is no Alec anymore. He's gone. He is just Swamp Thing.
Yeah, because he gets into, like, a Swamp Thing costume, and then the costume gets ripped off, and it's empty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very metaphorical.
Mm-hmm. Abby gets home after a walk to clear her head, which is the thing she does. She likes going out into the fucking middle of the night and walking through the swamp, which... How are you not dead?
Yeah, Abby is careless,
irresponsible,
and ridiculous, unreasonable. I really dislike her.
Yeah, but when she gets home, she hears a woman talking with her husband, and when she opens the door, there's nothing there. He's been using his powers to entertain himself, and like in the art, like he's covered in like large bugs and weird spiders with eyes and shit. There's a lady talking to him over his shoulder. And
tiny lady whispering in his ear.
Mm-hmm. So she's being like psychologically like tortured unintentionally. Woodrue finds out that Alec has become one with the Swamp Thing, meaning the readings that he's taking off of his body are identical to the swamp around him. There is no difference in whatever comic book ass readings he's taking. And he also lets us know that he's cooked and eaten some of those tubers. We hop back to Alec's dream, and he comes across giant worms eating his human corpse. They leave him the humanity, which is just a skeleton.
The skeleton.
Yeah. But like it stands in place for the humanity, so he picks up the humanity, and he has to like run with it. And in order to do that, he has to leave his dead wife, Linda, behind, because he has to be able to carry his humanity with him and leave his wife, because she's dead. So much symbolism.
So much. And it's weird how, like, he's worried about his humanity, even though he's accepted the fact that he is no longer human.
He's still, like, coming to, like, this whole issue is him coming to grips with the fact. Yeah, he's coming to, he's not a human anymore.
But
right?
still, like, it's symbolism, It's like, you don't need to carry the skeleton.
No, you need to for the symbolism, for the art.
I know.
Abby and Matt go back to the body, and Woodrue's watching, and I think this is a fun line in here. If there's one thing I despise, it's the sound of steaks sobbing.
Yes, he keeps referring to them as steaks.
He continually like derogatorily refers to humans as meat or steaks or like shit like that, where it's like, you are not good enough. You are food. You're a waste. Okay, he has no respect for.
It doesn't sound like he wants to be a plant. It sounds like he wants to be a Decepticon. Meat bags.
But he hates people.
Yeah, like Abby saying this stuff to Alec's husk of a body while Matt is standing right, like her husband's standing right there. It's like, Alec, you're human. You're the most loving, the most gentle, the most human man that I've ever met. Like, all right, I'm gonna go. If I'm mad, I'm just gonna go pour myself a drink and go talk to tiny women again in my hotel room.
Matt's also a dick.
Yeah, no, Matt's a huge dick.
Yeah,
but like, have your wife fawn after a plant.
Sure.
Like, it's like, baby, he ain't even got a penis. Come back to the hotel and touch my penis. Yeah. Come on.
I can pretend it's a plant. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Touch my tubers.
We can get you a cucumber, a carrot. No.
So we find out that Woodrue is like super jealous because he can communicate with plants. He can control them, but he
is not part of the green.
He isn't a plant himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's still too human for his liking, and he wants what Swamp Thing has. In his dream, Alec keeps fighting to keep his humanity, which is literally him fighting monsters, holding on to the remnants of a corpse, like the skeleton.
The skeleton's tucked under his arm.
Mm-hmm. But everyone and everything around him are trying to take pieces of it away from him. So Alex runs and runs, but he ends up losing his motivation to fight, and he loses humanity. Like, he metaphorically lets it go, but his humanity tries to spur him on. He ends up silencing it and overgrowing it so that he has none left. Or, like, he takes it into himself, right?
I think he takes it into because he's holding on to a small part of it. Like, by the end of it, he's got like a skull and a little piece of spine.
Right, yeah. So yeah, I would take that he merges it with himself. So he is a plant, but he's taking the humanity with him, right?
Yeah.
Woodrue takes a cutting from Swamp Thing and uses it to contact the green, like as a conduit, and connecting to the green overwhelms him, and it ends up burning the last bit of humanity out of him, and the Floronic Man is now free from being human. Chapter 4. Another Green World. Swamp Thing's still fucking around in the green.
Yeah. That Floronic Man at this point is just batshit crazy.
Right. So the green is so connected. Swamp Thing is just like flying around like green space with a bunch of like plant looking shit all around him. And he senses that there's something wrong. There's something foreign there, and it's like a big red tumor kind of growing. And that's Woodrue. I started calling him the Floronic Man after the change, but he kept referring to himself as Woodrue, so I'm just going to keep doing that. Well,
he changes it. It's like a different pronunciation. It's not like the last name Woodrue. It's Woodrue.
Woodrue, yeah.
Yeah, with a hyphen.
Rue the wood.
Right? Yeah. It's funny with comics with like ideas that have been around for so long, and you don't realize like where they come from and shit, Like the green's been around for a long time, right? But the symbolage of the thing in here is the red. Right, and the red is something different, something bad. Now, not too long ago in Teen Titans, that was the thing. Like I think Beast Boy was actually in some way connected to the green just because he was green.
That's stupid.
Which was stupid.
He's an animal guy, not a plant guy.
Right. Yes, but I want to say that like the red was something else that was infecting.
We had talked to some people, and like they said the red existed, the blue existed as well, because the blue just recently showed up in Aquaman. So there's a bunch of shit. Yeah.
In the current run.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We see Floronic Man kill 3 like young men, late teens, early 20s, in the swamp. Just murders them because they're not plants.
Because they're not plants. But that is Floronic Man's kick now.
Yeah.
He is
killing people
for the green.
Green all the way. Searching around the green, Swamp Thing finds the disturbance, the red, and it makes him start remembering things like Woodrue, like Matt, like Abigail. And then Abby goes out to the swamp again because she likes the silence. It helps her in hard times, and she's having a hard time with her husband.
Yeah, again, man, like, I'm going to wander off into the swamp by myself at night.
Swamp, super, super safe.
Sure.
Don't worry about it.
And they're in Louisiana, right? Like, no gators, don't worry about it.
There's literally gators in the art.
Yeah, in the art, yeah.
While she's out there, she finds the body of one of the guys that Woodrue killed, strung up in a tree by vines. And then those vines start coming after her. Like, they're chasing her. And she's calling out for Alec, even though she knows he's a lump that hasn't moved in months.
And even if you buy into the Alec's not in there, what do you call him? Hey, green guy.
Yeah. Moss Buddy.
Plant dude.
I'm Swamp Thing, thank you.
And you think it would be the last time you run into the swamp for safety?
Never run into the swamp for safety ever.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you would think it would be the last time, and we know for a fact that
no, she constantly goes back there. It's crazy. So Swamp Thing ends up remembering who he is and what happened beforehand, and when he reawakened at Sunderland's, when he killed a man. And then we see Floronic Man reach LaCroix, not the gross water thing. The town LaCroix. It's a small town of 559 people.
Gross
yeah,
water.
Fuck that. I hate seltzer. Disgusting. My wife drank LaCroix for a long time.
There are better seltzers.
Oh, if you say so. I think they're all gross.
Okay.
I would like my drink to taste like something, not like the thought of something. So he destroys this town and ends up killing everyone in it except one teen who he had record him do it. And, give his villain monologue.
And what an elaborate thing, like sends people into their homes and has the moss and ivy grow over windows and doors so they're airtight and has them start producing twice the oxygen. So when somebody lights a cigarette, boom, boom, wow.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Yeah.
Like, you thought about that on the spot, man?
Yeah,
like,
right.
I mean, wow.
He had some time to think about it.
Yeah, and the walk out of the swamp.
Yeah, he still has to walk there. He can't fly.
They're crazy.
Plants are slow. Ever seen a fast plant?
Creeping moss.
I guess if it's kudzu, but even that's kind of slow.
But this poor goddamn kid forced to, record his whole town.
His parents, his sister, and his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark. So, Alec blames Woodrue for taking everything from him. Let's see, I said... There's a panel. I want to read here. Here we go. Woodrue. He took my humanity away from me, caused so much agony, and when I thought the agony was over, that I'd found peace, he tainted that as well. Woodrue. They wouldn't let me be human, and I became a monster. But they wouldn't let me be a monster, so I became a plant. And now you won't let me be a plant. You!
But I don't really get that. Like, Woodrue didn't take his humanity.
Yeah, he did.
How?
He made him realize that he could never be human again because he was a plant.
He didn't take it. He pointed it out. If anything, he
took that hope from him because he still had hope he could be a person again.
Bro, basically what he did was show him his potential.
Yeah, but that's still a trauma to go through. Like, I'm never going to be human again. Well, I am this forever.
Yeah, but Woodrue didn't do that to you. If Woodrue never showed up in the book, you're still Swamp Thing.
He's still going to be mad at the thing who told him, took the hope away from him.
Still, I think that's a little inflated.
I get what he's saying, and I agree with him.
I just think it's a little inflated. Like, go be mad at General Guy who planted the bomb. You got plenty of other people to be pissed off before this schmuck.
Well, he's mad at all that shit. But Woodrue did a lot to him. And now that Woodrue is, infecting the green, it's even worse.
If anything, I'd be mad at this Abby bitch. Like, stop making me save you every 5 minutes.
But yeah, so he wakes up just in time to save Abby from the vines. He rips himself out of the swamp, and he's no longer Alec. He's Swamp Thing. And Abby goes, okay, let's go. I'll follow you.
I mean, that's a great full-page piece of art, too.
Where he's ripping himself out?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she goes, Alec? And he goes, no, not Alec.
The frogs are jumping away and shit. That's what a beautiful panel. So much detail.
Again, if he stayed looking like this.
Yeah.
Even this page where it doesn't have all the slop on him, but just the roughness on it. I like the roughness on him.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's the way he should be, textured.
Yeah. Yeah. So that the kid from LaCroix.
I like some of the other, we're talking about the free floating words, not like the dialogue, but the narrative words, where it's like, and the Swamp Thing walks, and the woman follows. She doesn't want to be out on her own. Yet she's constantly running out on her own.
She specifically says she wants to be out on her own all the time.
Yeah.
The kid from LaCroix makes it to the next town. He gets into the police station. He lets them know what happened. One of them watches the tape he has, and he calls somebody who calls somebody who calls somebody who calls the Justice League.
And I like, and for the first time, you're in a DC comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, what? Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
This whole big horror thing's in continuity.
I also like that it's just like, all right, the cops are going to call these people are going to call DC, DC's going to call the Justice League, just straight up, just we can't deal with this fucking Superman, please.
Yeah. There's plant people
blowing
up villages.
I like this bit, too. I also like this bit where the officer, Sergeant Luther Galen, he leaves his shift early. This is the guy who watched it and reported it. He goes home. He tells his wife what he saw. They purge their house of plants. Like, they throw them all on the front lawn. He kills his lawn with chemicals. And then he chops down a magnolia tree his wife planted 20 years ago.
With their names carved in it, part of their history.
Like he just, like he's crying as he does it.
Yeah, so emotional.
Yeah, because Woodrew's plan.
But, like, have you ever had that connectivity to a plant? Like a tree you've seen in a park since you were a kid, or... So
I've had a cactus for a long time.
A cactus for a long time? So...
I've had a cactus. I got a cactus. Me and Ashley, my wife, the first year we moved into an apartment together, I got a cactus, and I still have the cactus.
Okay, so that's cool. Mm-hmm. Right?
I don't have sentimental value to it. Like, it's just kind of like, oh, cool, I have it.
And if it died tomorrow, would you not be...
I'd be bummed, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
And how would Ashley react?
Not at all.
No?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess I was going more on the
representation of our love
emotional.
is a prickly, mean plant that won't die.
So growing up in Brooklyn, yards and trees were kind of special.
Sure.
You don't have
them. Yeah, in the city, yeah.
My grandparents were in their house, like, I don't know how early, but I know that my great-grandfather helped build parts of the house. I don't think he built the whole thing. And, it was a double lot, so it was the house on one lot, and we had a yard. And that shit was fucking heard of in these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
When my grandfather died and we sold the house, they immediately fucking bulldozed it and built some fucking crappy apartment building.
Sure.
Because it was just that big of a land.
Mm-hmm.
There was easily 8 trees on the property in the middle of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's unheard of.
Yeah, impossible.
Unheard of. And there were different connections, emotional connections to different trees for everyone in the family. There was an enormous tree in the backyard that my mother had a swing in when she was a kid. I have no connection to that tree. That tree didn't faze me at all. There was a small pine tree in the front yard that my uncle planted with his son. That was shorter than me when they planted it, but by the time the house was sold, that tree was 50 feet into the sky. The thing was huge, There was a dwarf maple in the front yard that my grandfather used to laugh at. Oh, it's a dwarf maple, and it got huge, out of control, because we didn't prune it or whatever. So it was just like, oh, yeah, it's a dwarf, and it's it's huge. There was a cherry tree in the backyard where we used to pick cherries as kids. We used to eat them right off the tree without washing them, But there was 3 pine trees up against the neighbor's fence, and the bottom branches created such a cover that they reached down and touched the ground. And I was small enough that I could crawl, and it was just like this little hiding spot that I could just go in, and I could hang out in there. I could go hang out in this, like, it was like a multi-room apartment at my size, There's 3 trees with 3 bases fully covered with the branches reaching all the way down and around. So there was kind of like 3 teepees connected.
Okay.
So like I could go in there with my cousins and shit. Like there was room, So I get being emotionally attached to plants.
Okay.
You
can get emotionally attached to anything. Like,
sure,
I get it.
sure.
I just don't have that.
Yeah.
Where are we? We see Floronic Man attacking another town. He has a big villain monologue. Basically, he wants to remove all life from the world that isn't plant life. All meat must go. General sentiment.
Sounds like a sale at a butcher shop.
Right?
Yeah.
But as he's monologuing, Swamp Thing shows up, and he just goes, no more.
Very stoic. Swamp Thing not big on dialogue.
No, he's not a talker. But I don't think plants are talkers. I mean, Woodrue is, but...
Yeah, I didn't notice that this poor woman was holding a dead dog.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of...
Like, they don't even, so much is in the artwork that they don't even, address.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when did this dog die? This woman just showed up holding a dead dog.
Maybe that was there before he got there. Just Dead Dog Sue.
Her name's Angie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dead Dog Angie. Dead Dog Sue someone else. She kills dogs.
I was in the middle of killing these dogs before you showed up and ripped my shit, bro.
Alright, so chapter 5. Roots. And we are up on the watchtower with the Justice League, who is watching the tape that Woodrow recorded in LaCroix. He says he has increased the oxygen production of all plants in the world by tenfold. This will end humanity within a year. The League members discuss what to do, and Green Arrow is really upset because they were watching out for New York, they were watching out for Metropolis, they were watching out for Atlantis, but who was watching out for LaCroix? One of the things that in this book, which is a very like Alan Moore thing to do, is the Justice League is just ineffectual.
Yeah.
Like, they get this thing, and like, we go back to them a couple times, and it's them going like, hey, what do we do about this? And they're planning. They never actually do anything. They wait for Swamp Thing to solve it, and they fly down and kind of clean up the mess after the fact. Like,
I mean, at least he made Green Arrow a little...
Yeah.
Like...
Well, he's the human, that's why.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just a guy, I can die.
I kind of dig the way that he wrote Superman.
How so?
In the, like... way that he reminds people what he can do. Where, like, I don't think it's this page.
It's the next time where you see him.
Next time you see him, where he's talking about molecules in the atmosphere, some shit like that.
Oh, here we go.
And he's like, I can count them if you want.
Here you go. He has a moment here, too. Insane's the word. I noticed almost 30 major differences in his posture and speech patterns.
Like, if Superman were this efficient on a regular, like in any like superhero issue, like you wouldn't even need Batman. He would just be able to see all, like, you know, like I'm the super detective as well.
Yeah.
Like I can decipher anything. Like he really makes Superman seem next level.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Where like, I can do all this crazy stuff, but I can't stop the fight guy.
Yeah. Or I think too much before I do.
Yeah, but that's all it is. It's them like planning too much of the watchtower instead of going down and dealing with it.
Yeah, doing stuff. Yeah.
Like I said, just ineffectual. They're powerful. They just don't do anything.
Yeah. And while you're up there in your lofty tower thinking about it, you're not here on the ground putting your hands on it.
Right. People are suffering. People are dying while you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
Yep. So we jump back to the stand down between Swamp Thing and Woodrue, and they're just staring at each other. Woodrue starts to puzzle out why Swamp Thing is there. He assumes he came back to join him in his victory over the meat.
Right.
Woodrue offers Swamp Thing a woman to kill, and then Swamp Thing punches him in the face and frees her instead.
You know, it's funny. Swamp Thing is this heap, this imposing, grotesque, scary-looking, massive heap, and Woodrue looks like a wood nymph.
Yeah.
Like he's something out of legend.
He is in sore need of a design upgrade.
Yeah.
He looks like shit.
Yeah.
He's like if a skinny guy's like was made of bark and he was wearing like a bush underwear, like for underwear, you know what I mean?
Like he looks like a fae, like a wood nymph or something.
Yeah, but in the worst way. Like I hate his design. I really do. I think have they updated him at all? Do you know?
I don't know the last time I've seen him.
I don't think I've ever seen him.
Oh, really? I would imagine in a Poison Ivy comic.
Sure, I'm sure I've actually have seen him, but like I don't have any memory of it. I just know he looks like garbage. Like, because it'd be cool if they did update him a little bit. Like, if they lean into this a little more, but a little more like modern, like design sensibility. I think he could look pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, he punches him in the face, frees her, and they end up fighting. And as they fight, the townspeople run away, all of them.
And my favorite line of dialogue in the whole damn book, where Abby goes, "Woodrue? That's Woodrue? But the way he looks." And the guy she's standing next to goes, "Yeah, uglier than death, backing out of the outhouse, reading Mad Magazine, and crazy as a football bat." That is... What?
It's a good one.
It is the best one. It is the best line of dialogue in this whole book. Yeah, uglier than death, backing out of the outhouse, reading Mad Magazine, and crazy as a football bat.
Which, by the way, that's said by the only townsperson who doesn't run. So it's him and Abby there, right? And he
follows up. "I ain't running. Damned if I'm running. I live here all my life. Got roots here."
Roots, yeah, it was there. The title did it.
Like this guy's whole dialogue. Is like punny even when it's not like intended.
But he ends up saying like he's gonna go get old Evangeline and come back. And Abby's like, "Who's Evangeline?"
Yeah.
Like, you idiot. He's going to get a thing.
Love it.
We end up back on the Watchtower, and the League are trying to come up with some ways to fix what Woodrew's done, and they have nothing solid. Everyone's pitching ideas, and nothing lands. And then we just immediately jump back. It's just a page of them going, oh.
Superman going, there's always hope.
Yeah, sure. That's what the S is for.
But yeah, it's been a long-running thing, apparently.
So Swamp Thing and Woodrew are still fighting, but Woodrew has Abby cornered and is going to kill her. And the old man comes back with Evangeline, and Evangeline is a chainsaw.
I love it. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm. And it goes, vroom, 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 and then he kills the old man.
I was upset.
Yeah.
I was ready for the old man go.
Sure, get a hit in or something. Yeah, take an arm off, anything. But he just uses some plant to like hit him in the face, and he's dead.
And this is like a crazy long chainsaw.
It's a big. It's like an actual like lumberjack. I'm gonna go cut down like a fucking yeah. Mm-hmm. It's big. He dies, and then Woodrew takes the chainsaw and decides he's going to use it to kill Abby. He starts talking about horror movies and all this stuff and how they're used to cut down plants all the time, and it's apropos that it's going to be used to cut up some meat because you put it in your horror movies, yada yada yada. And then Swamp Thing grabs his arm and breaks it, just snaps it, and he goes, "Oh, my arm! It hurts."
I guess you're not that planty.
And also this is, why do you keep coming back? Why do you keep coming back and hurting me? It's just like a whitey baby thing to say.
Yeah.
And Swamp Thing tells him that it's because he's hurting the Green. Woodrew thinks that like this is what the Green wants, but it's actually him infecting the Green with his own desires. It kind of like an Ouroboros of like, I'm connected to the Green, so I'm feeding my intention into it, and it's giving it to me back. So it just keeps building and building, and that's why he's fucking nuts. And Swamp Thing just, with a little bit of science, goes, "Hey, jerk off. There's one problem with your plan. If all the plants hyperoxygenate the world, who's going to turn all that oxygen back into carbon dioxide? Us plants need to live." And in that moment, Woodrew's connection to the Green is severed, and it drives him crazy.
It's kind of sad and pathetic.
Yeah.
Like, his whole thing of thinking that he, was on some great crusade that was all bullshit. Mm-hmm. And apparently his connection to the Green was crazy because he's like, I can no longer feel it. Suddenly he can no longer feel the steaming, fertile presence of Africa within his mind, or that of New Zealand, or Japan, or Wyoming, or Carolina. And I was like, man, all right, so just trying to set a gauge on how connected he was, that he could feel.
There's a point where he's begging the grass to be like, no, not you too. It's yeah. Mm-hmm. So he was connected to everything, and now he's connected to nothing, so he feels super alone. Like he's running through the swamp, and he's comparing the trees to people who won't speak to him.
Yeah. I mean, there's been modern DC stuff where they've made Swamp Thing comparable to a god, Yeah,
you're connected to the thing that's connected to everything.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. And at this point, Woodrew starts to kind of back off the "I'm a plant" thing and going no, I'm a man again. I'm a man. And this is where he's kind of hurriedly going back to his little hovel, whatever the fuck the thing he's in. But he gets his Flexi Flesh, which is the skin spray.
The spray on flesh.
And he's like, hey, no, I know. I could I'm a man. I'm going to wear a man's skin, and it's going to be all cool because I'm human. So he dresses himself up for the Justice League, and he starts making really odd statements about being a human. How when people talk about an alien pretending to be like they're human? That's the shit he's saying.
Yeah.
Hello, fellow humans. How are you?
Yeah. And he looks like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Spraying the flesh skin over all the gnarly, thorny...
The woody growths he has on him that haven't been trimmed back. He looks awful.
And I like that the Justice League still, even though they show up, still don't know what to do with them.
They're going to bring him to Arkham.
I know, but it's even with a question mark, it's Arkham? I guess so.
Where else do you bring him? Let Batman deal with his shit. And then Swamp Thing goes back to his home in the swamp.
Yep.
That's the way every issue ends. Swamp Thing walking back home to the swamp.
And another beautiful full page.
Yeah, and almost every issue has that. So that's the end of the arc that I liked.
That is the end of the arc. That I think the standalone issue with like the introduction of Woodrue. What could have been a standalone issue with the introduction of Woodrue.
It's really part of a three-parter.
And fleshing out the rebirth of Swamp Thing.
Yep.
Super solid.
Yep.
This, being the conclusion with kind of weird horror.
Yeah, it wraps up Woodrue, gets him out of the way, and Swamp Thing at this point is fully like, I'm a plant. This is what I am. I am no longer Alec, but I still have his stuff. Like, that's all out of the way.
So, like, as much as I hated the first issue and didn't want to continue, the last 3 issues made me happy I continued. If I had stopped there, I would sing much more praises.
Yes,
but it continues.
I like the first. I like that arc much better than I like the second arc.
Yes,
the second arc has to do with like weird, like mystical stuff and Etrigan.
And Etrigan is not a turn-off for me.
He is for me.
But I like him in very minimal supporting doses. Not as, like, a co-character.
We get more Jason Blood, Etrigan, and Abby than we get Swamp Thing in here.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing
is the
feels like a supporting character in his own book.
Yeah.
Where shit happens and he just goes, all right, I guess I'll fucking take care of this.
Yeah.
I beat the thing up.
Shit went south.
Right.
Come help.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah.
Even with the
even with
the Floronic Man.
Yep. He's this hermit out in the swamps. Leave me alone. He's like, oh, I guess I'll come save your asses.
Yeah. I'm trying to be boss, people. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That's going to be the end of part 1 of Saga of Swamp Thing, book 1 by Alan Moore. It turned out to be longer than we thought it was going to be, so we're splitting it up. Thanks for listening. The second part of this will be out in, 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
Yeah, every other, yep. So if you want to email us with discussion topics for our regular episodes, or if you would like to give us some recommendations for future I can't fucking talk. Future book reviews, you can do that at thecomiccryptcast@gmail.com. You can follow the store on Instagram and Facebook. Links for those will be in the show notes. Go read your books.
Peace.
We loading up the hearse, throw it in reverse. I come from the church of the Marvel Universe. Bodies getting stuffed in the bags like comics. The hardcore get it while the soft bitches vomit. I came to this earth on a radiated comet. Now the planet is in perilous danger because I'm on it. Fly super villain with the superpowers in me. Got the red issues and all my shit is minty. Body like Ben Grimm, suckers I be beating down. Look around and we be found chilling out in Eatontown. I be at the comic crypt stacking up the kryptonite. Doomsday and Superman every time I grip the mic. Dark Phoenix overloading, supernova sunspot exploding. I'm the Punisher reloading Bobby Drake when he's frozen. Storm forming ominous clouds over the ocean. Working with Professor X to master my emotion. Have you posing in the box whether you know it or not. I'll easily bag your bitch like Logan did to Scott. Mr. Sinister plots when I administer shots to clone Gene from a jeans. Then this shit'll get hot like Inferno. Burn slow, humans are ash. God loves man kills in the days of future past. Now I'm working on a science lesson. Me and Brian Stratton, a rat in a cage who can't stop buying X-Men.
Like a flower,